I'm going to talk about our November 2020 budget report. I'm going to share all of our real numbers and how things played out. We had some exciting things happening in November, so stick around to hear all about it. Hi friends, and welcome to the Budget Bounce. If we haven't met yet, I'm Jen, and we talk all about living life on a budget, saving for our future, paying down our debt, all things related to personal finance on this channel, and the different things that affect all of our personal finances. So if that's your thing, make sure you hit the subscribe button below and tap the bell so you'll get notified every time I post a new video. So I am still in catch-up mode from being sick in the fall of 2020. I had a hiatus from YouTube for about 3 months while I was trying to get back to being able to do this on top of just everyday life. And so here we are. There was way too much going on in the fall for me to skip these months and just not do a budget report at all. So we had a lot going on in November, and I want to share all of that with you. So this is the budget template that we have been using for 3 years now. It has evolved over time. It started much simpler than this, but this is what works for us. And I have made this template available with actually a lot more functionality than what you see here out in my Etsy shop. And so I will leave a link to that down below if you're interested. I have it in both Excel and Google Sheets, so you can get it either way. And, feel free to have a look. So let's just go ahead and jump in and talk about what November looked like for us. So the camera's over here, but my monitor has all the details on it. So I'm going to be looking this direction. All right, so jumping into our income, you can see I have our salaries blacked out as always. And then we have several additional lines of income that came in throughout the month. So we had sinking funds that we used. We planned on 1,820. You can see we brought in more than that at 2,588. We ended up getting into our emergency fund, and that was $1,570. We had additional disability payments coming in from Matt and I both being out on leaves of absence. So just like in October, I have blacked out Matt's for his privacy. But since I was so transparent about my own in September, what am I doing here? I'm doing November right now. So since I was so transparent in October with my own disability, I went ahead and left that here. This was for some additional time that I had off in October with complications. So then we had a little bit come in from Matt's side business, and then I had some funds that I pulled in from the Budget Bounce. So we planned on $13,509. You can see that we had a total of $16,335 to work with in our bucket. And that was about $2,500 over what we originally planned. Looking at giving, you can see I didn't plan on doing any giving in November, but ended up spending $284. And all of that was for the holidays. That was my holiday shopping that I was doing. And there was a little bit yet in December, but I did most of it in October and November because we had this big thing that happened. And if you haven't watched my video yet about that, we bought a new house. And so all of that happened in November, and I didn't set November up necessarily for that. So I have some places where I went ahead and accounted for it, but most places I didn't, because I didn't know until about the 5th of November that we were actually going to do this. So it was unexpected, and I share all of that. I won't go into all of that now, but I share all of it in this other video that I'll leave a link down below to that playlist, because we're going to be building on that. I'll be doing several episodes related to the new house. So giving, we are over by 284, but again, that was covered by sinking funds because we have a holiday sinking fund that I was able to pull in from. Looking at housing, you can see we had $1,075 for our mortgage, $135 for our gas and electric utilities, $169 for our quarterly water, garbage, sewer utilities. Mobile services was $185 and internet was $101, bringing us to $1,668, which is just under what we planned. In transportation, we spent $216 on gas, $21 for OnStar, and then we had $539 in repairs to the Traverse. Now you can see we planned on some here. This was because we needed an oil change and tire rotation. But then we had, when we took it in, they were like, yeah, your brakes and rotors need to be addressed and soon. And when we were talking about it, Matt and I realized we had owned the vehicle for almost 4 years and we've never had the brakes done at all. We've not even replaced the pads. So that's really unusual. So anyway, that's where why it got so high so quickly, because actually the brake pads were really kind of in dire straits. So we went ahead and just did that. We pulled in some money from a sinking fund to help cover that. We had $33 on the MKX, and it is, early February when I'm doing this, and I cannot recall what this was for, but our total came out to $809 and we were $403. So we did about double what we originally planned. In food, we planned on $500 and on groceries, and we spent $389, but we went over in dining at $314. So that brought our total to $704, which is a lot better than August, September, October were. Well, September, October in particular. We were $104 over for the month, but things got crazy again because of the move in December. So you'll see December's all out of whack again as we were making some progress and getting closer here. And then December just kind of blew it out of the water. But moving on, we didn't have any expenses for Henry in November either. All right, moving on to pets, you can see we had $35.75 in grooming. We had $47 in food. We didn't have anything for meds. We had $286 in training that you can see we didn't plan for. $35 for the vet, and $102 in other supplies. So that totaled $507, which was way over what we originally planned. So I have a note here. 200 of this, I think it was 200, or it might have been 225, I can't remember, was this package that we bought from a local place that does dog training. And it is 6 months of training classes for. It was the best deal. We were looking at 4 different places around town, and this was by far the best deal. It was every class you can go to, as long as, he continues to improve and he can redo classes over and over again. But whatever is on the schedule, you can go every single week for 6 months for $200. And so we decided to go ahead and do that because Uther is going to be a big dog. We've never had a big dog, and we recognize that he is going to require quite a bit of training, and we need to be diligent about that. And we aren't good enough at this to do it on our own, even with all the YouTube videos that Matt watched. It's definitely going to take some help from outside, but we feel like that was a really good investment, and it definitely was the best bang for our buck when we looked at it. So, again, over by $347, but, I'm not unhappy about that. We had most of that was covered by a sinking fund anyway, so we're in good shape. Moving on to insurance, you can see we had $434 for medical, $21 for dental, $80 for life insurance, $62 for short-term disability, $53 for accident, $32 for critical illness, $60 for Matt's union dues, $47 for mortgage, disability, $6 for personal articles. It looks like I didn't record the identity theft, but I know we paid for it. And $13.28 in auto insurance, because we have our 6-month renewal. We pay for them in November and May every year. So that was for all of our vehicles. And so our total came to $2,000. You notice I added the identity theft. $2,138, which was just a little bit under what we originally planned. So union dues. I knew there was something when I was reading off that he had union dues. I forgot to mention when we were talking about income, this was Matt's first full month back to work after being on a 3-month leave of absence from the middle of July to the middle of October. So July, August, September, October, we did not have full pay from him, or we had no pay at all in some cases. So this was a big difference, and his deductions finally kicked back up and all that good stuff. So we seem to be kind of on the right track. So that was good news. All right, in entertainment, we had $23 for streaming, $3 for HP Inc. Again, no Cinemark, and then we didn't spend anything on family entertainment. So $26 was our total, which was $57 under our original plan. In health, we had $625 for flexible spending, $33 for the gym, and $19 for healthcare, coming out to $677, which you can see is way more than what we planned. But this is because we had to pay an additional $281 for Matt's, I think it was $281, something like that, for Matt's flexible spending to get it caught up. So there's a payment that I forgot to make in October. So we had to do three separate ones. Altogether, it was $281. So anyhow, that's why this is so much more, as you know, we were trying to get everything caught up for that. In extras, we needed to renew our Microsoft Office Suite subscription. So I planned on $115 and it was $106. For the house, you can see we spent $2,294. And I will do a separate video about all of the numbers associated with the house, but this was the earnest money. This was the inspections. Like we had to have a full house inspection, like a general inspection. We had to have an appraisal done. We had to have a termite inspection done. All of that was included in there. I can't remember what else, but that'll be in a totally separate video where I'll go through all of that. And then we had some expenses with the kids that totaled $60. So we were at $2,460, which was way over what we planned. So anyway, we used sinking funds to cover most of this. And maybe even, I can't remember if I said we pulled from the emergency fund. I think we did. So we used that money to cover this. All right, we didn't have anything in crap. I forgot about that, so that was fantastic. Okay, moving on to our electronic envelopes, you can see that out of our personal spending, I spent $7 and Matt didn't spend anything. I forgot to mention that Matt didn't work, even though he got paid for the full month of November. He didn't work for between the holiday, which is 2 days for them, and yeah, or maybe it's only 1 day. I honestly can't remember. Between the Thanksgiving holiday and the fact that they closed the office due to a COVID outbreak with the employees there, he did not work in the office for nine business days, which is, you know, almost half of the month. And so that really has an impact. If he's not leaving the house, then he's not an online shopper much. So he doesn't spend anything. So, but moving on to household, $94 is what we spent there, but we spent $480 in miscellaneous. So that's a total of $582 for the month, which is $202 over what we originally planned. Obviously, there were several things going on as we were preparing to move. I can't tell you all the details, but I recorded all of that separately, and that'll be in a different video. For the budget bounce, I did a Black Friday sale and purchased a course that I've been waiting for that was released that day, $147 for that. And then on the budget bounce, I have my standard monthly subscription fees that I pay for my Google storage and for Epidemic Sound. I just totally drew a blank for my music, my monthly music. So anyhow, $160. And I knew she was releasing it. I didn't know at the beginning of the month that she was going to release it and on the sale, do a pre-sale on Black Friday. So I didn't plan for it. But this was all covered by money from the budget bounce. So over by $147 here, but again, covered from other funds. Okay, moving on to our savings section. So first we have our emergency fund, and you can see I planned on putting a whole bunch of money in there. And then I ended up not doing that because I thought I was going to need it for things related to buying the house. So I only put $50 in there like normal. And then we did 35 for Henry, 40 for Nikayla, and 45 for Xanthi. We have accounts set up for each of the kids just in case something comes up and they need something. We have a little bit of money set aside for them so that we can just cover that easily. M1 Finance, this is a new account that I set up in 2020. I put $10 a month to it. We had also in November, we opened up 529s for both Henry and Nikayla. And Henry's already in college, but we thought, well, we'll just go ahead and set a little bit of money aside for him. Right now, his school is free through a benefit through Matt's employment with the state of Illinois. But when he gets done with that, if we can help with books or something, I mean, we're just trying to be able to help with something because we did not save for his college. We weren't able to do that for any of the kids. Anyway, that's a long story, but we did not put anything away for college. And so we are just trying to see if we can help out a little bit. And then Acorns, we put in $49. And then Matt's retirement was $162. Mine was $335. And so we ended up at $802, which you can see is a lot lower. And that's than what we planned, but that's related to the fact that I didn't put nearly as much in the emergency fund as we thought. So we also ended up having to use some money out of the emergency fund. So this is $1,570 that we pulled out. That was all for the house. For sure, that was buying the house. So we ended up at $3,436 at the end of the month. But let me just look and see where we are with our liquid funds. We still had $4,503 available to us. If we had anything major happen, we had that available if we needed it. So these numbers here, all these other things are more tracking for the year so far. It's like a year-to-date running total. We reset these at the beginning of every year to see how much we put into each one. All right, now we're moving into sinking funds. So you can see we have a whole bunch of them here. I'm just going to run through them. So for auto insurance, we put in $160, auto registrations $40, business travel $20, city utilities $80, clothing $40, nothing to estate planning, $100 to gifts, nothing to this child support settlement. I don't think we're going to end up doing this now, but we set up an account to save money into. That was before we knew we were going to buy a new house. So it kind of changes everything. This is going to end up being a moot point going forward. Holidays, we put $230 in. Image, we put $50 in. Life insurance, $81. This is a separate life insurance plan policy that I have outside of my employment that we pay annual premiums on every December. Then healthcare is, we put in $50. Nothing to the one check or 1 month ahead. Online subscriptions, we put in $80. Pet expense, we put in $50 because I planned on a lot more, but we ended up spending most of that on the training class. So I only put $50 in. Technology, we did $25. The budget balance, I put in $150. Vacation, I put in $100. Vehicles, I put in $200. Wedding anniversary, $15. That left us at $1,471 total, which you can see is a lot less than what we originally planned. And for, once we were going to buy a house, like everything that I was going to do got reined in big time. So over here, you can also see where we had to spend some money out of the sinking funds. So first of all, auto insurance, I pulled $1,258 out of here, and we had to pull out $174 city utilities. They were $169 and change. Estate planning, I pulled $350 out to help just kind of bridge the gap on some things with, I think actually that might have been for the house inspection, I think is what that was. Online subscriptions I pulled out for, and then vehicles. Yeah, so we had the vehicle expenses up above, and so I pulled $630 out, which was a total of $2,588. And then when you look over here, you can see our total at the end of the month was $5,435 in our sinking funds. So we had $4,500 in the other, $5,400 here. So we had almost $10,000 cash available to us if something happened and we needed it, whether it be an emergency or if we had something come up with buying the house and whatnot. All right, and moving on to our debt section. So our debt, we have so many things going on with our debts. There's so many different accounts that I broke it into 3 different sections. So we have a paid off section, we have a charged off section, and then we have an actively paying section. And you'll see there's both pink and black font, and that is to differentiate the debts that have my name on them, which are pink, versus the ones that have Matt's name on them, which are black. We do operate with it's all our money, but Matt wanted to be able to differentiate between the two because at the beginning, 3 years ago, he was adamant that we focus on my accounts, the debts that were in my name. And I had to, with almost 40 debts that I was dealing with, I had to be able to easily differentiate them. So this is how I did it. So we have in this section, the paid off section, these are debts that are in the rear view mirror. We have 100% paid these off. They will never be something we have to deal with again. We've paid $32,161 off. Then we have the charged off section. This total is $6,718, which is actually lower than it's been, and I'll show you why here in just a moment. But these are all accounts that have been charged off. They're gone. They're not with the original debtor anymore. And well, at least we thought they were all not with the original debtor anymore, which is why one of them isn't in here anymore. And I'll show that to you here in just a minute. But we have a total of $6,718 here. And because these are out there and there's no minimum payments required on them, there's no interest or fees being accrued on them, at this point in time, we decided to set those aside. And Matt said, I don't want to deal with those right now. Let's focus on the things that are current and let's keep them current and let's get them paid off and deal with these later. So that's what we're doing. So in our actively paying section, our total is $173,136 here. These are the things, this is the bulk of our debt, and this is what we're focusing on. So you can see this Gordman's portfolio up here, and this got moved from being in the charged off section. We thought that this was already out to a collections company, but they actually deferred it out to a law firm who sued Matt for the debt. He had to go to court and agreed to a payment arrangement. And so now we are paying $80 a month on this from his old Gordman's credit card. So this is the balance, $2,829. We thought we were going to pay it in November, and it didn't actually come out till early December. So it'll show up in December with the first payment. All right, so let's just run through these. So we have Care Credit was $50. This is a Capital One card, was $25. The private student loan for Matt is $50. That has both our names on it, but anything that had my name on it, he wanted that to be shown that it was mine, so we could keep it current. Lowe's, my Lowe's card is $190. Our HELOC was $200. Car payment $550. Child support $455, $161, and $109. And then family loan $200, and we aren't currently paying on student loans. So our total was $1,990. And it was just a little under what we planned, 80 of that being Gordman's that we thought was going to come out at the end of the month. Let's just talk about totals now. So $181,548 is where we started the month. And our total debt, we broke the $180,000 barrier finally, and we are into the 170s. We are at $179,854 is the total debt that we owe. So that's this section, everything here plus everything up here. Now let's just go look at our totals over here. So our total expenses for the month were $14,284, but you can see our income was $16,335. Now let's remember, these are really big numbers, bigger than what we normally have. And we had several things that are playing into this as far as the income goes that I didn't really talk about. So we have disability payments that came in, additional disability payments that came in. We have money that we brought in from our side businesses. We have money that we brought in from our emergency fund to help with paying for things for the house. We had money coming in from our sinking funds to cover various expenses, including the expenses for buying the house. So that's why these buckets are so big this time. But when you look at this, you can see there's $2,051 that we did not spend that we brought in. And so what I did was I carried that into December. So you'll see that as carryover on the December budget report. And that's because I knew December was going to be crazy because that was the month that we moved, that we actually moved. Going back over here to starting balance, our starting debt balance is $263,358. And this number, 1,693, represents the total debt that we killed off. So that number is lower than our total debt paid over here because it's taking into account interest that's being accrued. So that's what we killed off forever, gone forever. And our total paid to date is $83,503. Now these numbers over here are representing 21% is the 1,990 total debt paid divided by our regular salaries. So this is showing that we used 21% of our regular salaries and put it towards debt. Okay. Then we have 31.7%, and that is this 83,503 divided by the original 263,358. That is representing that we have paid off 31.7% of our original starting debt. It goes up a few tenths every month, usually anywhere from 5 tenths to 7 tenths per month right now. And so we're excited. Just every time this percentage goes up means this total paid to date is going up and our total balance is going down. Yeah, lots of exciting things happening, lots of unexpected things happening in the month of November, and December got more exciting, I guess. And spending all of this money, I actually had a really hard time with it because, as I mentioned in our introduction to our new home series of videos that I'm going to be doing, this was not something that we planned. And it is, I talk a lot about it over there, but it was a very emotional decision that we made, very much driven by emotions and where we were with everything that has been going on in our lives that had built up over the course of the last year, starting in February of 2020. So of course the pandemic had lots to do with that and all of the impacts of that, but it all started in February of last year. Before the pandemic actually hit, my family had a health crisis. And so all of these things had been building up, and then we ended up making this very emotional decision to move forward and buy a new house. And I will tell you, I have zero regrets. I will also tell you that spending all of this money when I hadn't had a chance to plan for it and mentally prepare for it and do all these things, that was a challenge. So it was very mixed as we were moving along. But now that we are, the dust is kind of settling from that, I am feeling a lot better, and I just don't regret it at all. I think it was the best decision we could have done for ourselves at that point in time, and we love where we are. Lots more to come on that. But again, we've, hit another milestone. We broke the 180,000 barrier with our total debt that remains. And we are looking forward to continuing to just chip away at this as far as our debt and our savings, trying to save for our future, because we are in our late 40s and we have to do it all at once because we did nothing. We did nothing until 3 years ago. And now we're trying to do it all at once. So we don't have the luxury of doing one thing at a time. We tried that for the first year or so and then realized that that's not going to work. That was November for us. I hope that you guys are having a good start to the year, because if you're watching this when I released it, it's now early February. So I hope everything is going well for you, and I will be back soon with our December budget report. That's all I've got for you today. Till next time.